So when we think about the future, what really pushes the future ahead is technology. This is the first liquid-propelled rocket ever made in 1898. And from there to getting on the moon and finally Mangalyaan that entered Mars's orbit. But what really pushes technology ahead? What really drives technology? And I really believe that technology is driven by things that we see around us, the birds that fly, the stories in mythology, the Pushpak in Ramayana, and similar things in other cultures, which makes us dream to fly. As humans, we always try. We try till we fly. And now going back to the past. So I was born in a forest close to Nasik. My father was a carpenter and plumber, and he taught me his trade. So I really learned making with hand at a very, very young age. And that was beautiful because you can really feel and you can really make things. And at the same time, my mother, she told me stories, a lot of stories. And these stories, I think, made me very empathetic. They made me very curious, very imaginative, and I could really put my own world into the world that was outside. And I grew up later somehow in the education system, really failing really badly, and I went to engineering school for 2 years, didn't go after that, then crashed on a design school because there's so many students, no one knows if there's one more student in the class. And I remember I was 16, and I wanted to be this cool guy who wanted to impress girls and play the guitar. And I tried, and unlike the meaning of my name, which means patience, I'm a very impatient person. I cannot follow things 1, 2, 3. I have to break out. And playing the guitar was such a difficult task because it takes you so many months or weeks to play it and practice it enough to really learn and hear something that is beautiful. So I made this apparatus, something that goes on my hands, and on my fingers are these force actuators with asymmetric signals. What it does, pushes and pulls my fingers ahead and behind. And it's not like robotic, it's a very subtle nudge, as if someone's just touching your fingers. And now, imagine if you pick up a ukulele or a guitar and you don't know how to play a song, and you can download a song onto your hand, and your fingers will actually go to the right chord positions, and you can play without knowing how to play. Now, of course, when I showed this to the girls, they thought I was too nerdy and geeky to date. So didn't have any luck there. But I developed this even further, and what happened is, like, you might say this is robotic, this is not really learning because, you're playing but you're not learning anything. So what this does is, first it teaches you. It takes your fingers to the right position. Next, once you've learned enough, it will only correct you if you're wrong. So it becomes like your mentor from a teacher. And third, once you've learned enough, it misguides you. It makes you make mistakes so that you can explore and find new tunes. So this was 16, many, many years back now. And then I moved many cities. From Bombay, I moved to Singapore, to Cambodia, Tokyo, blah, blah, blah. And now I live in Seattle. And one thing that I felt was missing in all these cities was there was no randomness. There was no reason to get lost. Everywhere you go, Google Maps will tell you where to go. You will never get lost. You'll always follow the right directions. I remember walking barefoot when I was a kid, everywhere. And everywhere you walk is the road because there is no road in the forest. So I wanted to get that beauty and wonder and that subtle feeling of really feeling the earth back into my city life. So I started working on SuperShoes. So SuperShoes are actually, they tickle your feet. So they tickle both of your feet. And so what you see on those three things are ticklers, and over there is a capacitive pad which can sense your taps. So if you tap, it senses that. And all this is flexible, moldable, foldable, stretchable, waterproof in a silicone insole. And you can put this in any of your shoe, and any of your shoe becomes a super shoe. So, of course, with SuperShoes, the way it works is it's a tickling interface. So the right shoe tickles take a right turn, the left shoe tickles take a left turn, no tickle, keep going, all tickles stop. So again, you'd say this is again navigation. Yeah, it is navigation. But what it also does is it knows your personality. This is a website where you can put in your personality, what kind of food you like, music you like, so on and so forth. So now the shoes know my personality and they know my location from my phone. So what they do, if they know I like sushi or if they know I like Anda Burji, they would tickle me, and they would take me to a place which makes that food. The other thing they do is they also remind you and they take you to places like if I have to pick up wine, they'll take me there. And more important than that is they let you get lost. They let you get lost. So what happens is if I am right now, right here, and I want to just go and explore the city, I can literally walk anywhere I want, not thinking how would I get back home. And after I have had fun with my wanderings and want to go back home, I just tap my feet thrice and the shoes take me back home. I want to talk about a slightly different kind of future now, a future that is more in the present than in the future. This is a silicon elastic screen. Like normally, you have something that's plastic, that's very rigid. And in the digital world, you have your screen, which is rigid. But the real world can be folded, torn, and twisted. So this is a screen I made. It's a new kind of computer, which you can actually pinch, pull, and actually, it's elastic, basically. So you can stretch it out. And if you want, it remembers shapes, so you can actually pull out a mountain if you wanted. And you can imagine that, if you have a cell phone, and you can stretch it and it becomes an iPad, and you stretch it more and it becomes a laptop, you wrap it around and it becomes a cube, and you throw it out and it breaks into a million pieces, each of them a computer still. You will have this in your pockets 20 years from now, I'm sure. But what I wanted to talk to you about was something that happened 3 years back when I used to live in Cambodia. I traveled to the suburbs of Cambodia in Phnom Penh, and what I saw was this landfill, a landfill of e-waste, keyboards, mice, computer screens, dumped from all over the world, from the west, from east, into this place. And families had migrated from their villages to come and work here. Kids don't go to school anymore. 2 months later, when I was back at home and I was thinking this thought left with me. And so I made these modules. But what it does, you carry this in your hand, you walk up to a landfill, you pick up a keyboard, an old keyboard, and you plug it in, and the keyboard becomes a piano. But this is something which, when you plug in a speaker or a headphone, it tells you stories. So you can listen in group or listen alone. And I made a series of these toys called ThinkerToys, like thinking and tinkering, ThinkerToys. I went back to Cambodia, was interacting with the kids, and later it became an open source project. These are more later prototypes of Kiano. There are right now 110 members which are in this project. So back to the present, back to now. My wish for you is what I really wish for me as well, which is every moment we live every day, all the experiences we have, and the stories that come out of it, that some of those stories really connect with us, make us smile, make us cry, and then we choose to act on those things. We choose to act on those experiences, and we create. Let's make and create the future together. Thank you.